you'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
Hello again, everybody. Randy Hales, the leader, the creator. Here we are with Talking Memphis Wrestling, and from Thailand, PJ in the house. West Tennessee, Thomas Lemon in the house. Calvin Lindsay Jr. in the house. All kinds of people. This show is being produced by Adam Dunn, as is always, and as always, couldn't do it without him. Hey, I'm a guy that gets organized. I'm a guy that puts a lot of prep, a lot of thought, a lot of time in this here show. Now, it is my goal, and it's always been my goal for this show to be the best Memphis wrestling talk show ever. To do that, I didn't mean to say doo-doo, another word for shit, and I didn't mean to say that either, but man, I love building this audience, and you guys can help me build this by any post I may post, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter X or on any of the 3 Facebook pages I have. If you share that, if you comment on it, if you guys throughout the week can help us promote this show, I would love it for sure. And Ben NG says, somebody say something about being fired up. Hey, I am fired up, and as you can tell, it looks like I am dragging this here opening a little bit, because here's the deal. Pat Trammell was supposed to be on this show today. However, he told me about noon that he was about 5 hours away from his home in Birmingham, Alabama, and he ran over a pothole, and it effed up his wheel, his tire, so he had to get it to a tire shop. Then he had an appointment to go to, and he had to take care of that, and then he wasn't going to get back to his car to 5 o'clock, and it's a 5-hour trip, so he's not going to be able to be on the show. Chris Neely, hadn't seen him in several weeks. His wife's coming to town. They don't live together full time, not like there's a scoop there. They work in 2 different places, BC Collins. So Chris can't be on the show today. Then Michael St. John, who said that he would be here at opening. Then he has a radio situation, a phone call, a conference call to take care of, and he said that he just has to take it when he gets it, and he wasn't on here at opening. So folks, I don't know what we're going to have. I don't know who we're going to have, but if anybody out there watching this here show thinks I can't do a 2-hour show by myself, and I don't want to scare you to death, I don't want to run anybody off, because I certainly don't think that I have to do this show for 2 hours by myself. However, we got to cross our fingers and hope that I'll get help from one of the members of the panel, because Dr. Robinson has a conference call, a medical conference call, and he will be in here when that is over. Blues Doctor Podcast is coming up at midnight tonight. Check out the Blues Doctor Podcast on YouTube. Hey, let me tell you what is happening this week. Starting last week, we added a little bit to the format of the show. For quite some time, I've been doing photos of the week and cards of the week, and it's been a big hit. But last week, I added a match of the week. And last week, we showed the 6'6" 83 greatest match ever, Lawler Dundee, loser leave town. So I thought we would add every week a match of the week. On today's program, I believe I have that scheduled in segment 3 of the show. In segment 3 of the show, we will watch that 16-minute match from 1985. It was Hair, which would have been Dundee and his wife Beverly's Hair against Jerry Lawler leaving town. We'll watch that a little later on in this show, and we can't wait till that happens. Jeremy Gibson is in the house. Hello, what is going on? Ben, very nice. He says, I'm the main event. Well, that might have been true at sometimes in my life, but at this particular time in this particular show, I am without a doubt the opening match. Hey, we talked last week and we showed videos last week of, because it was the 4th of July week coming up, and it was a show that was July the 1st, so we watched parts of Rumble on the River last week. During the week, my buddy Bo James, who was a part of Rumble on the River on July the 4th, 1998, Bo keeps everything. And I think, Adam, the last graphic that we have, TV5 got together and this wasn't like TV5 where you could just walk in. They gave us name tags. And so I had to go to the TV station on a Thursday morning and get hundreds of name tags, and they gave this on this fancy thing, the Star Spangled Celebration for WMC TV AM 79 and FM 100. Down the side it says wrestling on the thing. And Bo, you're watching right now. Bo, I'm doing it alone right now in the opening segment of the show, and I needed content, I needed information, and you gave me information on that hot July day, July the 4th, by sending me that. You've always done Bo James, done a much better job than I have of keeping your shit. And you kept that, and when you share it on me, share it with me that I can share on this show, I like it very good. I appreciate King of Kingsport, Bo James, watching this show. Waiting for Michael St. John. Later in the show, we will have Dr. Rusty Robinson, but we got a lot of stuff going on. We'll go ahead and do the pictures of the day, and we have some interesting ones coming up. Adam, will start with 4185. Start with 4185. This is pretty cool. This obviously was done by Jerry Lawler. And this is interesting, and this was in the program, the Action Ringside program. It says, do you have a softball team tough enough to challenge the King? It was your team against Jerry Lawler's Army. And as you see the information and the phone number to call, Mr. Guy Coffey, who is no longer with us. But Jerry Lawler, as most of you know that knows him, the King is absolutely, without a doubt, very passionate on softball. Other pictures we're going to take a look at and just go with them, Adam, as we will go through this. This is at a fan fest recently. I do not know where, but a fan fest recently. How about this, folks? How about this photo? It's the King, Jerry Lawler, against former World Heavyweight Champion by the NWA and WCW, Nature Boy Ric Flair. Cool picture there. The King and Ric Flair, a current picture. Next. I love this one. This is in probably 1978 or 79. I want to give credit to the people. This might be a Mike Shields picture. I am not sure on that, but this is absolutely a fantastic picture. What it shows to the right is the police officer, Memphis City police officers escorting the wrestlers to the ring. You see a jam-packed Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. On the left, the father of Dwayne, Rocky Johnson, and handsome Jimmy Valiant. And I love this picture big time. Chattanooga television announcer is next. And we'll take a look. No, I guess I did not have him next. This is Les Thatcher in Knoxville with the great Lance Russell. You know everything you need to know about Lance Russell. Certainly Les Thatcher, the Southeastern Championship wrestling announcer and the Smoky Mountain wrestling announcer. Lance Russell, Les Thatcher. Next. Hey, we hate school t-shirts. Sweet brown sugar, Cocoa Beware, before he was Cocoa Beware, and beautiful Bobby Eaton. Imagining this picture was from 1983. Cool picture. Next. This probably 1984. This probably 1984 as King Kong Bundy and the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, as Bo James saying, as we showed that picture of Les Thatcher just a minute ago. And Bo said he talked to Les last night. I can beat that. I talked to Bo James today. By freaking God. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. It's Randy Hales going at it right now in the opening of this show. Going at it all alone. How about these 9 pictures of the fabulous Jackie Fargo, and which one do you like best? Go from the top, the bottom. I think I like the second row far right. I like that, but I like every single one of those photos of the fabulous one himself, Jackie Fargo. Absolutely a great picture. Next picture is a dressed up, often imitated, never duplicated, the fabulous one himself, Jackie Fargo, as we continue Photos of the Week right here today on Talking Memphis Wrestling with our next picture from 1976, 3197 is the picture of the week that we want to show in now. This is the picture of 1976 Southern Heavyweight Champion Tommy Wildfire Rich and Superstar Bill Dundee. Talking Memphis Wrestling, our next photo, Adam, is Mr. Wrestling 1, Mr. Wrestling 2. Any guesses, but you can read and figure out who it is. It's Jerry Briscoe and Iron Mike McCord on the bottom. Somebody besides Bo James tell me who Iron Mike McCord is. Give me that information. Bo James or Adam Dunn is not allowed to tell us who that is. Thomas, do you know who that is? PJ, do you know? Of course, top line, Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2, Johnny Walker and Tim Woods. as Frank Seaton, ring the bell, give him a piece of cake. Absolutely. Ben followed real quickly and answered both Frank and Ben correct with the Austin Idol answer. After that, we'll take a picture, a look at a very young, this I believe was in the debut year for Bobby Eaton. This was in 1977. He's the pride of Huntsville, Alabama. He's beautiful Bobby Eaton. Next picture. I like this. Legendary Tennessee promoter Nick Gulas presents the fabulous Jackie Fargo with a plaque honoring his great career. This was taken in a great, great picture taken in 1980. Next picture. Now, I want my audience, and Bo, you can answer this one. You're allowed to answer this one. Adam, you can't because I told you and you probably have notes. Who is this picture? Who in the world is this? I will just give you people a chance. I'll give you a little chance. I won't help here. This is supposed to be audience participation. This is a show that we certainly like the audience involved. This is a show we like you a part of the show. This is the part of the show that I ask you guys question. The guy that has the hold applied to him. So Frank says Les Thornton and Eddie Marlin. You got one half right. It is Eddie Marlin. Give you a cookie. That part is right. Let me give you a hint on the other guy. I was hoping Bo James would, if he's still watching, he's in and out because he gets phone calls and he gets Waylon running in and out and all kinds of things going on. So I'll give you a hint. Here's a hint. Fabulous Kangaroos. All right? Fabulous Kangaroos is the hint. Anybody have a clue? After I give that information, after I get that hint, I give the hint that the person that has that vicious hold applied by Eddie Marlin to him in a previous time was world famous as a tag team wrestler. It's not Al Costello. It was Al Costello's partner at one time. Al had several partners. But you came close, Ben, and I'm very happy. No, PJ, Captain Lou was never one of the Fabulous Kangaroos that I know of. I could be wrong on that. You guys are real educated. I'll give you 5 seconds for an answer. Looking for an answer. The Fabulous Kangaroos. 5, 4. We're at 3 now. We are at 2. And King of Kingsport, who I said could answer. Now, he listens to me because when I said earlier, Bo, you're not allowed to answer the question that was earlier on, and you didn't answer that question, but this time I said, Bo can answer this question because Bo, I knew, I absolutely figured, and I have confidence to know that you would know this, and it's absolutely, positively Don Kent. Bo, keep your eyes on the road, not on me, not on this show. Listen to me, don't look. As Jessica Nicole says, hey there, Randy Hales, what is going on with you for sure? Now, folks, here we go. More Q&A. I'm putting you on the spot right now. As it's Randy Hales here on Talking Memphis Wrestling. We're waiting for the panel members to come on this show, and so far we are not having any luck to have them on the show. This picture right here, one of the gentlemen is Jerry, the King Lawler. Who is this? Yeah, that's obvious. That's Jerry Lawler. Who is the other guy? Absolutely, Frank Seaton. Frank, you got it. Then BC, you got it after Frank got it. This was in Atlanta, I would assume. This was Playboy Gary Hart. We have a few pictures remaining, including this one on Talking Memphis Wrestling. This is a chin lock by Jerry Lawler on the bullet, Bob Armstrong. Donald, I am doing great. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm solo right now, but we're rocking and rolling with Talking Memphis Wrestling, and we're doing photos of the day, and we'll do the next one right now. I love this. This is from the Action Ringside, and Donald, I am great. How are you? This is from the Action Ringside Memphis program, the program that went all through the territory. This is artwork, Jerry the King Lawler. This is Jerry Calhoun. This is Jerry Calhoun, all broke, no doubt about it. All right. As we're getting a message from Michael, he says he has issues that he can be on for a while, but he won't be on long unless as we got you through 7:22 on Talking Memphis Wrestling, and we're gonna bring right in because they don't have long. He's going to get explained on his first take because he's disgusted and agitated, and it's not because he's had to listen to 30 minutes of solo me. That's not why he's mad at all. He's thankful for the fact that he has a professional in here that can do 30 minutes when people like Pat Trammell don't know how to drive and messes up his tire. People like Rusty has a family illness that he's dealing. Will be here later. And Chris Ellis has a wife that wants his time. So Michael understands why I'm here by myself. And I want to know, Michael, why do you look so disgusted?
Because I'm disgusted. I'm one of these people. It's hard for me to get down. It's hard for me to just get negative. And the last few days, the last day and a half have been just negative. But okay, we're good though as far as me coming on. We've had a transmitter issue, as a lot of people know when they followed us on one of our radio stations. We had to ship it to San Diego, $452. Now being shipped back, fixed a week later, $622 of shipping. That doesn't include the repairs. But anyway, I have a conference call that I'm supposed to have with the engineer from Bext, who is the maker of our transmitter, and he's got to do some explaining. And he said, I can only do it when I get off. I get off work at 5:30. Well, he's in San Diego, so I don't know when he's going to call, but I'm here until he does. Really was looking forward to this show because you've got it loaded with a lot of fun stuff. And I apologize for being here. I apologize to our audience, but I'm here. Let's take advantage of it. That's my first take. Let's get to business.
All right. We will not restart the photos of the day, but except we will on one because I want Adam to put up the last one we had up there, 4210. And Michael, don't look at the comments because we had people guess it. But if we go ahead and put 4210 up there, Adam, Michael, one of them is obviously Jerry Lawler. Identify the
Tommy
other.
Gilbert.
Do what?
Tommy Gilbert.
Nope.
Nope.
Think Atlanta.
Think Atlanta. Mario Galento? No.
Nope. Think a wrestling manager that was never in Memphis, but was in Texas and in Georgia.
Gary Hart?
Do what?
Gary Hart?
Gary Hart.
I'll be darned. I've never seen Gary with black hair, or at least black hair with long sideburns. I don't think.
That's probably the year he was banished from Memphis Wrestling. I'm guessing that was 75. And then we'll go ahead, and I like this because I like action photos with holds, especially if you don't see holes in the holds. It looks pretty good. 4213 is the next one
Bob Armstrong.
with the chin lock, the camel clutch.
That's Lawler with the reverse chin lock or the camel clutch. It's not the camel clutch because the camel clutch he would have Bob would not be on his belly. He grabs the camel clutch while he's on his all fours. At least the sheet did it that way.
But I like Lawler's facial expression, and you
Lawler's
see Bob's.
great. Yeah, and you talk about, and again, that's so much a part of selling in professional wrestling. So much of what is lost today.
4214. 4214, Adam, is how about this one? Artwork by Jerry Lawler, and this is so funny.
Hilarious. I remember this picture, and that was actually, if I'm not mistaken, in a program that was sold all over the territory.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember this picture, and oh, Jerry Calhoun. I wonder if Jerry Calhoun has a framed picture of the original of this. I wonder if he's got the original pen and ink of this. That's fabulous.
Yes, I absolutely think he would. And one thing, just with Michael on the show, I want to re-show 4202. This is the Jackie Fargo, Nick Goulas picture, Adam, 4202. If you could go ahead and put that up there. This says legendary Tennessee promoter Nick Goulas presents the fabulous Jackie Fargo with a plaque honoring his great career in 1980. That's a fantastic picture. Have you ever seen that particular picture?
I have not seen that particular picture. I know exactly where that was taken, though. That is former Tennessee Governor Frank Clement in the background, that portrait of Governor Clement. I was working for Mr. Nick at the time. I remember Jackie. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this was maybe the second or third time I ever had the opportunity to work with Jackie and sit and talk with him. And he was in great spirits and great health. And notice those glasses. Let's pray to the fashion gods that those glasses never come back in style.
I agree with you, Michael St. John. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I thought you would enjoy that for sure. And another picture, Adam, as we're repeating some.
Before you take that picture down, let me make a point real quick here.
Yes.
You notice the quote unquote button on the cuff of Nick's jacket?
Yes.
That is actually, if I'm not mistaken, I remember that jacket. Those are horseshoes, and they had diamonds in them.
You're kidding.
No. And he bought that. I'm trying to think, the men's store in Nashville that he did a lot of shopping at. Oh my gosh, I can see that. I've been in the store. It was in Green. They had a store downtown and in Green Hills, and I'll come up with the name. But it was a men's store that Nick, when he bought his suits or bought the high-end clothing, and Nick always dressed. I don't know. A lot of our fans that may have come to the matches may have remembered. It would be 112 degrees inside of the women's building at the fairgrounds, and Nick Goulas would be there in a shirt, in a sport coat or a suit and a tie. He was impeccably dressed at every event. In fact, I don't think I ever saw him in a t-shirt ever. Saw him in a short sleeve shirt without a tie maybe twice. He was always the epitome of dress. He loved to dress up, and I remember that jacket. The buttons were little horseshoes. And the horseshoes had diamonds in them, not big diamonds, but like little cut diamonds.
Folks, you only learn that on Talking Memphis Wrestling with Michael St. John. 4210, as we're going to test Michael, because we exposed this, but Michael, I don't think, was watching the show. And who is this with Jerry Lawler?
This is where you picked up with me. That was Gary Hart.
So you did guess that one, right?
Yes, we guessed that one. Sure did.
Okay.
That was my third guess, so I would have been a C- on that one.
So let's go ahead and jump to 4224. and this is a picture from Atlanta. And I would think that the world title match with Ric Flair, NWA champion, against Bob Backlund, the WWF champion, I would guess this didn't draw very well. What do you think there, Michael?
It's going to be a hard draw because, first of all, it's on July 4th, which would have meant you're competing with fireworks and people being out of town and all that good stuff. I'm wondering if there was a reciprocal match at Madison Square Garden or at the Boston Garden, either before or after, where Flair went to the Northeast Territory and reciprocated in a match with Backlund.
You would think they would, wouldn't you? You would think they would. All right, here we are with Michael St. John. Michael, have you heard from your guys? I'm trying to see where to go next. Or
no, just go ahead, and when my phone rings, it's here and it'll vibrate. So I'll let you know. We also may have a special guest coming down in about 5 minutes. You guys may want to see.
Okay, very good. And I think what I'll do, this is where I had formatted the match of the week. We're adding a match of the week every week, and I think if there's a chance I may be solo, I'm thinking I'm better off to save that video for that, as we can talk over the card. And let's go back to the Ellis Auditorium. Let's go back to 4211. This is Memphis, Tennessee, July the 3rd, 1967. And starting with the prices, and then starting at the bottom of the card, going to the top of the card. Once he puts his glasses in, said, "Here we go."
Welch Wrestling. Look at that on the bottom. Corsica Joe against Trench Phillips. I wonder if Joe was at the door taking up tickets before the match. That's what he always did in Nashville on Wednesday nights. Oki Yamaha. It looks like Yamaha.
Yamaha to me.
I'm not familiar with him. Versus Don Green. We got Herb Welch against Sputnik Monroe. You talk about a match. That would be one hell of a couple of shooters there. Mario Galento against Eric Von Bronner. Eric Von Bronner came on later in the stages. The tag team that was the world heavyweight champions in the Goulas Welch Wrestling and made the big splash was Carl and Kirk Von Bronner with manager gentleman Saul Weingroff. And then Eric Von Bronner came, they introduced later. I want to say Kirk left or got hurt or went to another territory. And so it was Eric and it was Carl and Eric Von Bronner later on. But this was against Mario Galento. I would think this would be in the latter stages of Mario Galento's career. Jackie and Roughhouse Fargo. That picture is an old picture that was actually taken in New York City when he first went to work up there at Madison Square Garden. And it was originally a picture of Jackie and Sonny Fargo. Of course, Roughhouse Fargo became a referee in the Carolinas and took on the Roughhouse persona, but it was Sonny Fargo. So there was Jackie and Roughhouse Fargo against the Blue Infernos. And the Blue Infernos, was Don Kent one of the Blue Infernos, Randy?
You know what? Before my time, I have no idea.
I'm thinking I'm thinking Bo James could help us out there.
Bo's driving, but he's listening to the audio, so hopefully he has a chance to look at this. And
that would have been a hell of a match, because I remember the Blue Infernos being one of the teams that had longevity here in this area or in our area as a masked team. And of course, the fabulous Fargo brothers. I mean, that's, Jackie and Sonny Fargo became the fabulous Fargos. In the South, much more were known much more as the Fabulous Fargos than Jackie and Don Fargo, who originally came down, and then Don went his own way and ended up going back to New York. And Jackie, of course, stayed and brought in Sonny Fargo. And Jackie and Sonny were legit brothers, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And Jackie and Don were not.
Right. You're absolutely correct. What a stacked card in 1967. Ticket prices, Michael?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can't buy popcorn at a wrestling show now for the cost of a ringside seat back then. It was $3, right? Yeah, $3. Yeah. You can't buy a tub of popcorn at a movie theater for $3 anymore.
Prices were $2.50 and $3. Adam is watching. Adam Zimmerman. Adam, I appreciate the fact you love this show. He also has a question, and honestly, it's a question that the past is past, and I don't talk about the situation with that promo by Doug Gilbert. However, Doug and I were very close before, and I had just talked to him probably Sunday, maybe Monday, sometime real recently, because wrestling is volatile for sure. So, Michael, people that don't understand, they think, and we won't get deep down, we won't get deep down on that. But how many times have you seen wrestlers get mad at other wrestlers, or wrestlers getting mad and says ugly stuff about promoters, and then if there's opportunity to make money together down the line, they always get up. And so that's just not something that Doug's, to my knowledge, has never dealt with publicly, and I never have either. And do I still hold a grudge? Absolutely not, for sure. And Adam doing some research, and this might, if you look in the private chat, go ahead and read.
With Frank Martinez and Gypsy Joe.
That's who he's saying.
I think he's right. I think he's right. I'm pretty sure Frank Martinez was. I'm not positive Gypsy Joe was, but it could have been. And it's funny you mentioned that, Randy, about wrestlers. And in the time that I've been involved in around wrestling, which basically started in '76 for legitimately, one of the things that's always been that's held true is it's a brotherhood, and with the ladies, it's a sisterhood, and we all fight together, if you would, in the shows and making the shows the best they can, but we all fight apart sometimes because of little dippy kind of stuff. I mean, little, what I wouldn't consider major problems. And to me, it always seemed to have stemmed over payoffs and women. I mean, that seems to be the two things that most wrestlers would disagree on or would get into a little brouhaha, would be about payoffs or about somebody's girlfriend. And it's part of it. But the one thing I've always loved about our business, about our industry, about our sport, is there is a deep thread of camaraderie. And most assuredly, 99 times out of 100, 999 times out of 1,000, when somebody is down on their luck, when somebody runs into a hard patch or something, there's other guys or other girls in the family, in the locker room, who knows who, where, when. There's a connection. The three, what is the thing with Kevin Bacon, the 6 degrees of separation. In wrestling, it's like 3 degrees, because you know somebody that worked with somebody. And I would, I would say that there's a deep thread of, I won't say loyalty, but a deep thread of passion that runs in all wrestling people, that sometimes you can get mad at somebody. Sometimes people stay mad at somebody later, but sooner or later something happens and brings them back together. And it's sort of it's sort of unique to our business. I really feel that.
Hey, go ahead, Adam, and put Jeff's comment back up there. Long time, early on in Talking Memphis Wrestling, on camera guest Jeff Archie, Minister Jeff Archie, is with us tonight. He says, hello, Randy and Michael. He said, it's been a while. He said, by the way, that $3 ringside is $28, $29 today. Also, I don't understand, my buddy Nicholas Oates, City by the Bay from San Francisco, also a contributor of Talking Memphis Wrestling when it was a audio only. Adam, if we can get City by the Bay's comment up here. And I really don't understand this. It says, hey, Michael, is James Wood, ... Barry Bonds Jr., what a stud.
Barry Bonds Jr. is a player. In fact, I think he may have just been called up, or is knocking him dead in the minor leagues. Hey, Michael, is James Wood Barry Bonds Jr.? James Wood Is that a reference to a movie? Maybe. Barry Bonds, of course, played for the San Francisco Giants, and his godfather was the great Dusty Baker, who was a manager for the Reds and the Houston Astros for a long time. I might need that clarification, because I'm wondering if James Wood is playing Barry Bonds Jr.
And Nick, if you could clarify that and let us know, and what he thinks he's asking, is he the next Barry Bonds?
Okay, all right, that makes sense. He's a player. I know that. Who's the guy with the Cubs that's tearing him up? He's in the All-Star game, and he played. I want to say he played for Vanderbilt, maybe, but just a super. Okay, James Woods, the rookie on the Nationals that made the All-Star game. Okay, sorry I lost track of that, buddy. I know the All-Star game's a week from tomorrow night in Atlanta, and I would give anything to go, but I don't have a ticket. But that's the only baseball thing I've never gone to, but I would love to do it. But I've watched the Giants play recently on Prime Ticket and on DirecTV, and they seem to be a young bunch that's coming on, but I think they're sort of up and down as the season's going on. The team that's tearing them up right now, the Marlins, are killing the Reds, and of course the Cubs are having a good year, and the Washington Nationals are a hot mess. That's my take on baseball.
And they have fired their manager and the team president. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, was it the manager, general manager? Was it? It could have been the team president and general manager. Randy, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I'd like to introduce a special guest on our show tonight. Guess where he just got back from?
Where did you go, Joshua?
Where did you go?
Arkansas.
Oh, yeah, that's my state. I live in Arkansas. Why didn't you come see me?
He wants to know why you didn't. He wants to know why you didn't come see him.
Were you busy?
Arkansas.
What part of Arkansas were you in?
We're near Rover and Havana.
Rover and Havana. That's sort of the northwest area, Randy.
Yeah, and I'm northeast Arkansas. I'm not familiar with that. Is that near Rogers or Fayetteville or something? And by the way, PJ from Thailand, somebody from another country. Papa, tell him that somebody from another country, PJ, is saying hello to him.
PJ is saying hello to you. You see that says hi, Joshua? You know where she's at? She's in Thailand. She's all the way on the other side of. You know how we show the countries on your globe? She's from Thailand. Yes. And she said hello to you.
And also LL.
He's going to get his globe.
So LL from Canada also has, JJ, this is when we first started this, what the hell? Did you ever think we'd have regular watchers from Canada and Thailand and all over the world?
Me and Cody will be back.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I was just being informed we got Joshua for the rest of the time, which I love. I love his mama. But did you go get your globe? I thought you went to get your globe.
I can't find it.
It's in the TV room on that table. But as you come down the steps, it's just in there. He was going to pick out where Thailand is. That's pretty cool. By the way, they're over near. They're just 20 minutes. She said from Rogers and Russellville, that area over.
Yeah, and maybe near Paris.
Paris, yeah, she mentioned Paris too.
Paris, Arkansas, for sure, man.
Can I say something about our world listeners? I want to say thank you. God bless you, people. We're living in a world that sometimes we seem like we're all in different directions, but when it all comes together, like on a show like this, it's beautiful.
He's back.
Find it.
Okay, I'll have to find it for you.
Bring it back and show it to us next week, Joshua.
She wants you to bring it back and show it to him next week, okay? Okay.
Don't forget.
Don't forget.
Hey, I don't know where it's at, you crazy.
I'll show you. Don't call me crazy.
Now, Frank,
did you realize 3 years ago he couldn't talk and now he calls me crazy?
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a blessing. It really is. Frank Seaton says that it's not far from Frank Seaton, who is a Jonesboro guy now living in Van Buren.
Okay.
Joshua should have went to Frank. Would have been very nice for sure. And
absolutely good people up there.
Appreciate LL from Canada watching this show as we've kind of changed order out here, but we're surviving. We'll go to 4212. This is a early card. Wrestling in Louisville debuted in 1970. We'll show you the first debut card next week, but this is 1972. This is July the 1st, 1972, Adam. This is 42-112. This is Louisville, Kentucky, and on my notes, I have it typed out. If you can't read that, I can read it from my typewritten
I got
notes.
it. I got it. And by the way, there it says Louisville Convention Center, which of course became the Louisville Gardens when they
Right.
built the new convention center over on at 4th and Market. All right, the opening match, the Fabulous Kangaroos, Al Costello and Don Kent with manager Sir Clements against Don Green and Johnny Marlin. Yeah, Johnny Marlin. I'm not familiar with Johnny Marlin.
He wrestled all over the country for Bill Watts. He wrestled as Johnny Eagles, but Jerry Jarrett thought he looked like Eddie Marlin, and he did, Michael, and he changed his name. And I think Joshua has somebody, so let's lose that card real quick. Hey,
Use the stylus to touch the globe and learn about Thailand,
hey there, everybody.
center of mainland Southeast Asia. This country's name means land of the free. and
Who's the young lady you have on with you?
This is our daughter, Brittany. This is Melanie's daughter, Brittany.
Hey, Brittany.
And this is, you met her at the event. And of course,
Yeah.
Joshua's got his globe. And this is a wonderful thing. Santa Claus brought it to him 2 years ago. And you touch the globe of the country and it tells you about the country, but it has a thing for animals and a thing for geography and all. And it's a great little thing for kids. We spend hours talking about and looking for things on this, but he was just finding out what Thailand is all about. So it's pretty cool.
Well, that is cool, and I'm
It's already done.
It's already done? Okay. I'm going to let them go so we can finish the show, okay?
all
See
right.
you guys later. All right.
Thank you, guys.
You got it?
Don't drop it.
You want me to bring that?
Adam, I want you to, City by the Bay has a question for me, then to Michael. So if you would put my question up there first from City by the Bay. It says, Randy, I heard Great Hills are some of the nice people in real life. Why do you think that is? Then the second question is to Michael St. John. So drop down a couple to City by the Bay. Nicholas Oaks says he would like to hear Michael's opinion on the fact. I'll let Michael go first. The original question was he heard that Hills are some of the nicest people in real life. Why do we think it is? Do you have a theory on that, or do you even agree with it?
I do agree with it. And I've only run across a couple of heels in my involvement that ever came off to me as heels in life. One of them was Bruiser Brody. I think I've made that pretty clear before on this show. I do have a theory on that though. And if you look at wrestlers in general, all of us in general that are in the business, we're normally, if you look back at our high school years or our junior high years, we were never the cliquey guys. We were never the person that was going to be voted most successful in life or the best this or best that. We were always sort of introverted. And most of the wrestlers that I have encountered, if they don't have, school smarts and degrees and diplomas, they have street smarts that are well beyond my pay grade. And I think a lot of wrestlers in general, and in fact, even to today, were introverted younger in life, and it gave them an expression of how they could express themselves in a sporting event in front of a crowd, be accepted, or when a heel's case be booed. They developed a sense of how to make money. And I think that's I would love to do. I wish I was 40 years younger. I would love to do a sociological study on wrestlers in general and how they became wrestlers, how they entered the profession. But I think a lot of us were introverted earlier in life, and I think we sort of, if you would, bloomed late. And wrestling was a great avenue of which we could express ourselves.
Okay, I'm going to hello, Thomas, bro. What's going on? Real quick, we'll start with Ben's thing. And let's make this answer quick, Michael. Ben says, was Brody living the gimmick? Ben, let us know where you're watching this show from. We appreciate you coming in last week, even though you thought you made me mad and you did not make me mad. You just put over Eric Embry, who I do not like, but you can like who you like. Was Brody living the gimmick, Michael? Quick answer.
Let me just make it a quick answer. Maybe, but I think more so, he didn't have a lot of respect for people that were announcers. And that's just my call.
Richard Hood is kind of getting us out subject, so let's do this real quick as we try to get on format. But Richard, one of our regulars, so we like to answer this. He says, Randy and Michael, who is the greatest tag team in Memphis? You know, there's a lot of different eras, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and in the 90s, I think PG-13. In the 80s, I think the Fabulous Ones, but you can also say the Rock and Roll Express. You can say the Moondogs, and there's so many. You say Tojo and Jarrett. That's just a hard question to answer.
I think you're right about the decades, and I think you go back in the decade of the 60s, and you've got the Fabulous Fargos, and you got Sputnik Monroe and
Norvell Austin.
Norvell Austin. I absolutely. I agree with everyone that you just mentioned, Randy. But I got to tell you, there was a change in my estimation when Gulas Welch had it. It was more tag team centric than it was when Jerry Jarrett took over. And I think when Jerry took over, there were still good tag teams, but I think it became more of a superstar kind of individual one-on-one match territory than it was when Nick and Roy had it, because tag teams were the hot thing.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And let's go ahead and put that Louisville card up for Michael to read from. It is 4220 from July the 4th, 1972. I tried to put some July 4th cards up there, and let's go ahead and put 4220 back up there if we could. The card we had up there last time, that the opening match was the Fabulous Kangaroos we talked about with Don Kent, and let's go ahead and have you read that card, Michael.
Okay, I was just looking at a message here, and I've got to put my glasses on. Sorry about that, Randy. I was reading one of our private chats. Opening match, by the way, wrestling at Channel 8, WSIX TV on Murfreesboro Road in Nashville. Tag battle, the Bounty Hunters with manager Jim Kent against Johnny Marlin and Don Green. Then another tag, again, see the tag matches? Again, this is looking at July 4th back in the 70s. The Mighty Yankees against Jackie and Roughhouse Fargo. And the Grudge tag match, main event, this is a tag match card. The Fabulous Kangaroos, Al Costello, Don Kent, manager Sir Clements, against Eddie Marlin and Tommy Gilbert. There's another one of those great tag teams from that era.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. Let's go. Let's in our next deal. Let's just jump 2 years. This is July 4th, 1976. This is 4215. This is jumping 2 years, and let's take a look at this card. And the main event, of course, is a single. We'll let you go ahead. This is July the 4th, 1976. The Louisville Gardens. By this point. And here's Michael St. John.
And it was wrestling on Saturday afternoon at 4:30 on Channel 41 WDRB-TV. The opening match were the Dominoes and manager J.C. Dykes against Charlie Cook, Don Anderson, and Don Kernodle. So that was a six-man tag. Don Kernodle, of course, went on to wrestle in the Midwest and down in Atlanta as well. The next match up the card, no time limit between Cowboy Frankie Lane and Tommy Gilbert. There had to be a reason for that stipulation. Maybe they had fought to a draw before, and that was the stipulation. Another six-man tag match, Jackie Fargo, Jerry Jarrett, and Tojo Yamamoto. That famous pen and ink drawing of and that may have been right after this match against Don Green, the Scorpion, and manager Sam Bass. The NWA Southern Tag Team Championship match, the stipulation of Henderson and Condrey do not win, they will throw out $1,000 to the crowd. That was one of Nick Goulas's favorite gimmicks, and it would draw. Tommy Rich and Bill Dundee, they had the belts against Bill Hickerson and Dennis Condrey, another one of the best tag teams that ever came down the pike. And then the main event was a special 15-round boxing match, Lawler against Rocky Johnson, but Rocky Johnson was not wearing boxing gloves. So I would think that would not have been a long match. And
I don't think it would have been. And so the differences between those two cards, differences between the 72 card and the 76 card.
Well, you had more emphasis on the tag teams in 72. 76, again, more star-oriented. You were starting to see the advance of stars that would later become big stars. Tommy Rich, Bill Dundee. It wasn't as tag team centric.
All right, Richard is asking, was Tommy Rich's rookie year? Tommy Rich's rookie year was 75. His first push was in 76. And Ben asked if Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey get overshadowed by the Midnight Express. My answer is that throughout the nation, since the Midnight Express wrestled on national television, I think the Midnight Express would be the most known. But the diehard 70s wrestling fan, I think 9 out of 10 would say Hickerson and Condrey was the best heel team ever. Would you think that too, Michael?
Well, I think that's
one of them.
Well, I think Ben did a great comparison here between those two teams because Hickerson and Condrey, they were roughnecks in the ring. The fact of the matter, the Midnight Express. Do what? Yeah, I'm in the middle of something, bud.
Good to see you.
Sorry about this.
What's going on?
I'm having to babysit all of a sudden. Anyway, getting back to my point, I think the Midnight Express were greatly helped by Jimmy Cornette. Even though Cornette was young, Cornette could talk. Cornette was a walking heat factory. People would just hate him by looking at him. And I think that's the thing that Condrey and Hickerson didn't have, but Condrey and Hickerson could make people mad as hell because of their tactics and the way they operated and their arrogance in the ring. Great comparison, but I'm like you. I sort of give the nod to Hickerson and Condrey of being a better tag team, even though Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey made a great tag team.
No doubt about it. And Thomas asking ticket prices, they were $250, $350, and $4. $250, $350, and $4. Interesting talk, interesting card. Have you heard from your guy yet? Have we got an update, Michael?
No, I thought I was having a call while Joshua was in here a moment ago, but it was somebody going out the front door on the camera, so that was what that alert was. So no luck yet. Hey, it's San Diego. They're Californians. God knows when they're going to call. I may get the call at 12:30. Who knows?
Absolutely. Wanted to give everybody an update from a behind-the-scenes aspect. Adam Dunn has lost electricity in Rome, Georgia. So, Michael, that means I am punching the buttons. I am directing and producing this show right now. And again, we have Match of the Week. We watched last week, Michael, if you remember, the 1983 Lawler Dundee Loser Leave Town. 2 years later, at December the 30th, 1985, it was Hare versus Loser Leave Town, Dundee and Lawler. We'll have that coming up. Now, a closed circuit, pay-per-view type of card, and this is the Great American Bash. This is in Atlanta at the Omni and closed circuit. This was July the 4th, 1987. A little hard to read, so I'll read. They had 4 opening matches. Then Scott Steiner against Barry Windham, Sting against Thunderfoot, Lasertron against the Mod Squad 1, Jimmy Valiant against Mod Squad 2, Ron and Jimmy Garvin against Petro and Barbarian, Brad Armstrong and Tim Horner against Big Bubba Rogers and the Angel, Chris Adams against Black Bart, Then finishing up the card was the Freebirds, Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy against Alvin Koloff and Manny Fernandez. Then the Rock and Roll Express against the Midnight Express. Then Dick Murdoch against Magnum TA. And the main event, a War Games with Dusty, Nikita, Road Warriors, Paul Ellering, Ric Flair, Lex Luger, Arn Anderson, J.J. Dillon, and Tully Blanchard. So how about that card, Michael, in Atlanta, Georgia, the Great American Bash? Your thoughts?
Well, they really pushed the Great American Bash, and and look at all those matches. That show had to last what, 5 hours, I would think. I mean,
and it started at 7 o'clock. You'd think it would have started at 3.
Exactly. And there were a lot of guys that wanted some shine in that. I guess the War Games was their take on a Wrestle Royal back then. They now call it the Royal Rumble. Back then we called them Wrestle Royals. Texas Death Match, World Tag Match versus U.S. title, a false count anywhere. A gimmick-prone card. My God, look at the UWF Tag Team title, which I don't know if the UWF had a TV at the time. The One Fall Death Match. My gosh, look at that. And look at everybody. If you look at the results, everybody on the left side of the card went over, got the win. And
right.
That's pretty indicative of a blow-off card, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. Thomas says Will and Dennis were great. Ben says Rome, Georgia, home of Marty Jannetty, and also home of Adam Dunn, our producer of this show, and
also home of the Rome Senators, I believe is the name of their minor league baseball team. And they have a neat stadium. I want to go over there and see a game. I hear the stadium's really cool. At the time Crockett and Watts were merging, Brad B.C. Collins gave us that just now. That's an interesting comment, Randy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is no doubt, and I am looking here, Michael, to see if we have William Dr. Robinson has not joined us yet, checking on that. And Adam, even though he's lost electricity and he went away from the show, so he's not here. So it's me and you. And so we're looking at very interesting cards here on Talking Memphis Wrestling. What's going on coming up in your week there, Michael St. John?
Well, it's an interesting week. I have my semi-annual pre-football physical on Thursday. So Dr. Youngblood, my dear friend and family physician, will be examining me head to toe and going places that no man will ever want to go again. And so I've got that coming up. So not something to look forward to, but it's something to look forward to. He takes good care of me, and I really appreciate Dr. Youngblood. And that's pretty cool. Friday, we have a live event at his office in Bluntsville, which is about 20 miles south of here, for a back-to-school bash where they do the physicals for the kids for a low price. And they give away these backpacks that are just full. They stuff them full of these school supplies. So the mom and dad bring the kids for a physical, and they get the school supplies that they need for the year. So, or for at least to start the school year. So it's pretty cool. We'll do that every Friday for the next few weeks. This weekend is a catch-up weekend. And then next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the SEC Media Days in Atlanta. I won't be there live. Adam's going down. Adam Ward, our operations manager, I think is going down for a couple of days. But we're getting ready. I know we have meetings with all of our high school football broadcast crews next week. So we're not that far away. And can you believe school is starting as early as August? I believe it's August 4th here in Alabama, they've just taken the month of August away from summer vacation, which is unfortunate.
It's just absolutely crazy. Hey, Michael, do you think if we go with our video match of the week, do you think you have time to at least join us for the start of it?
Absolutely. I just looked down and I do have a missed call, but let's go ahead and start it, and then I'll call this guy back let me make sure it's who I think it is.
Okay, let Michael.
Yep. I need to get back to this, but okay, let's go ahead and start this, and then I'll
We'll
bow
start
out.
this and do what you have to do, and I'll handle the commentary here. And Michael St. John may or may not be with us right here on
Depends on
Talking.
how much it's costing me to repair this thing, is whether it's a short conversation or a long conversation. The
We'll
longer
go
it gets, the more expensive it is.
December 30th, 1985, Lawler and Dundee. This is crazy. Here we go.
Spring. Jerry's mind is not fully on the match and Bill Dundee exclusively. Take a look.
Ben, Renegade Rampage, we had a sponsor with Redman Chewing Tobacco, and they were our sponsor, paying us money. So we did a deal all over the territory of Renegade Rampage Battle Royal. This is just a great match. Lawler got blinded earlier in the night by Tony Falk and Bill Dundee. This was Beverly Dundee's hair at stake against Jerry Lawler leaving town. It starts hot. This is about a 15-minute match, and boy, it starts rocking and rolling from the beginning. Here's a good picture of the late Beverly Dundee.
It started so hot that Lance was having to give the stipulations almost a minute into the match.
Yes, and this was fast paced, which is unusual for Lawler and Dundee, Michael.
Yes, indeed. Totally different concept of match. I think it's a great match out with Ball, too. These two work incredibly well together.
Look at those punches, Michael St. John.
Every one of them sells. Look at Lawler selling the blindness. Now we get Lance's commentary.
Dundee has started right out. Lawler's eye.
Yes, Thomas, in 1977,
Due to an incident
Lawler
that took
Dundee,
place in a
Beverly
match
Dundee
preceding this.
lost her hair, and then this is 1985, and again, just Michael, can you? What, have you seen punches like this ever by anybody besides Bill Dundee and Jerry Lawler?
Well, I think you know these are great with both guys, but I think when you look at those punches, you look at Fargo's punches. Fargo's punches so like I mean, tell me anybody that thinks Fargo's punches weren't real.
Nobody.
Absolutely. And there were some other great
against
punch.
Lawler leaving town if he should
And that
lose it.
sting behind Beverly Dundee, is it not?
Yes, and The Ultimate Warrior, because this was in 1985. And we talked about this when we noticed the crew out behind the wrestlers last week. And Jeff Archie said, really cool seeing the dressing room empty out, setting at ringside. Pat Rose told me the atmosphere was amazing. Ben says Lawler has one of the best punches ever. And Bobby.
I'd agree with that. Bobby Eaton had a hell of a punch.
Hey, that's Randy Hales. That's RH talking for a minute.
Yeah, and it's such an important situation, and of course you got to believe that Dundee had something to do with it. He gets a 2 count, but he can't hold him for 3. Lawler having a hard time getting an eye on him.
Notice, Randy, we haven't seen a hole in this match. There's not a hole so far. Street fight.
Dundee swinging at him, nails him. Lawler missing, takes the right hand.
Michael, you're obviously not on the phone yet, right?
Correct. I haven't left
His
yet.
perception off, and Dundee not making it any easier. No time limit, no disqualification.
He had me wait for an hour. I can let him wait for a few.
We have 2 sets of clippers down at ringside, one for Beverly and one for Bill in the event Dundee loses it.
We got 11 minutes and 40 seconds left in this video, Michael.
Clubs him with that right hand.
There's no hose in this work at all.
3 minutes into the action. action, and it's
But this is so typical Memphis. And I think if anything, if there was one word that would display, if there was one word to describe Memphis wrestling, if somebody said, okay, describe Memphis wrestling in one word, I would have to say the word brawl, because the matches were brawl.
Lawler out of it. I know Dundee didn't believe he was going to get the match that easy. Lawler, a double tough trooper, and much, much too much at stake. What a lousy break to have happen. It was no accident, I'm sure of that. Dundee flicking that right hand out there. Put a foot in the face, and Lawler's over backward.
Maybe at any point, like in this match, did you ever think Jerry was overselling to the point where the comeback became almost non-believable?
Steve Borden, Jim Helwig, the Blade Runners, Pat Rose.
No, I'm trying to give that a thought, but I do kind of agree that this set as heat is much longer than normal, especially from the get-go of the match.
Right.
Lawler rolling around.
Because we've yet to see a Lawler comeback. And we are, how many minutes?
Probably 7 minutes into this thing, and usually, Michael, when a babyface sells so much in the body of the match, he's the one going over.
Normally that's correct. And every now and then, though, they throw a curve, and somebody would just literally get the living what beat out of them, and that would be it. They'd swerve you.
Checking the eye. Boy, I'll tell you what. He'll think
this was a sellout crowd, Michael.
The foot's on the rope.
December the 30th, 1985. 11,300 people. The opening match was Billy Travis beating the Spoiler. Tracy Smothers beat Tony Falk. Tojo beat Tom Branch. Coco beat Pat Rose. The Fantastics won on disqualification over Sting and Ultimate Warrior, the Blade Runners. Rick Casey beat Dutch Mantell. And the final match. So that's the card. 11,300 people on December the 30th, 1985, Michael.
Very strong on the one-on-one matchups. And by the way, Tom Branch, if I'm not mistaken, was Tom Ernesto Jr.
Yes, sir.
All Bill Dundee. Dundee biting him now.
As Ben says, and he thinks Lawler's selling the previous injury, and that was the injury earlier in the night with the being blinded, and that is the premise of it for sure. This event over
either that or Lawler taking the night off.
Bill Dundee picks Lawler up by the hair and tags him again.
I don't think that's the case, do you?
I don't either. I was being cynical about that. No, I don't think that was the case at all. I think it's Lawler being Lawler at its best.
They're building for a comeback. I'm not saying the comeback, but just watch at this point. Lawler out of the blue.
Lawler scoring with his first big one.
That wakes the people up, Michael.
And did you notice what Lance said? Lawler with his first big blow. I mean, Lance sold it as well as Lawler sold the punch. Lance sold it with the crowd watching.
Getting a little encouragement from his wife, Beverly. Dundee climbs back up the turnbuckles from the outside, from the top rope. Coming down, nails Lawler with both hands. Count of two, and that's the best that Lawler can, or rather that Dundee can get on Lawler.
Randy, the Jerry from or rather Jeffrey from San Diego's just called again. I think I better get off and take this.
Like I said, John, I appreciate it, and we may be off the air when you get off the phone, so good luck for you.
And God bless it. If I don't see you back on the show tonight, I'll see you next week for sure. God bless you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael St. John.
Dundee just teeing off. Lawler staggering. And blasts Dundee with a big right hand off the rope. We're going to be back with more action coming up in just a moment.
It's just so interesting. 11,300 people. Great bump over that table. I'm not going to over-talk this too much, Ben and everybody else, because I want you to hear the reaction of the people.
10 count to answer. Dundee is on his feet, staggering. And he breaks the count by getting back in that ring.
Hello, Crazy Gal from Memphis, Tennessee. This is December 30th. This is 1980. This is the damnedest fight you'll ever see. This is December 30th. Dundee's hair and Beverly's hair against Lawler leads him down. This is Brawling Back. A bandage up Bill Dundee. Lawler and Dundee. And again, listen and watch, because this is amazing.
He's trying to bring Dundee back. Back up on the stands. The referee chasing.
Watch closely, people.
Dundee after Lawler. Over the side rail, down onto the concrete. Incredible.
What a bump.
Dundee knocked him over, and now Dundee is pulling.
Ben says he thinks current talent could learn a lot from this match. Just punching in the crowd is there for everything.
Boy, well, they can't stop it, Coco. Dundee is bringing the referee back. He's going to make the referee count.
Man, Lawler took that bump. Legitimate bump. No crash pad there. Lawler is wobbling back. He fell off that thing about halfway up. Referee making the 10 count.
Here comes Lawler back to the ring. He rolls to the apron. And Dundee kicks him back out on the floor. But he's about run out of it. Slams Jerry's head down on the table.
Great comment from Ben. Great insight. Ben, where are you watching? You're watching from YouTube, but where do you live?
Having gone over that rail, he was 8-9 feet in the air.
A younger Lawler, Ben, I completely disagree with that. Lawler was known for his big match, for sure.
Dundee drilled him with a right.
Especially earlier in his career.
And Dundee slams him into the ring post.
Where are you living now, Ben?
Billy hops back in the ring. Lawler trying to pull himself up into the ring. He makes it back before the count. Beverly Dundee up on her feet. She, as I said, was about to go into hysterics. Look at Lawler. He's saying, is that the best you can do? Come on, hit me. Dundee teeing off on him. Lawler pops that strap down.
The strap is down, by gosh.
Nails Dundee with a right. On Dundee, and Lawler falls down at the exertion of that tremendous right hand. Incredible scrap. This is war at its worst. These guys are absolutely attempting to annihilate
Been
each
watching
other.
this show from Portland,
21
Maine.
minutes,
Never been there. I've been
almost
to
22
Portland,
minutes
Tennessee before, Ben.
Lawler pounding away on Dundee. Lawler, with everything he had left, nails Dundee. Beverly's over there saying, come on, Billy, come on, Billy. Tony Falk was up there by him. Dundee threw something at him. 1, 2, 3, and Lawler has lost it. 22 minutes, 42 seconds. The winner, Bill Dundee, the new Southern champion.
All right. Can you believe it? Jeff Archie described this better than I could for sure. He says, man, they left it all out there. And Jeff, they absolutely did for sure. Ben says he misses the woo from the audience on every punch. Just so much feedback and so much response from Team Hales and from our audience tonight. Again, I'll remind everybody that Adam Dunn lost his electricity, so Adam Dunn is no longer watching this show and producing this show and running this show. He went away. Pat Trammell, one of our regulars, one of our main men, Pat, car issues, and he is not on the show today. Michael had to leave, and Dr. Robinson, we was hoping he would join later in the show, but he hadn't. So I certainly hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll have more next week, next Tuesday night, pictures of the week, cards of the week, and I'm thinking right now, match of the week, I'm going to choose from a list of matches that I could choose from. Nick Bonkwinkle and Jerry Lawler will be who we'll go with next week. Nick Bonkwinkle, Jerry Lawler is absolutely who we'll go with next week as our match of the week with our cards of the week and our photos of the week. Frank says, did Lawler take some time off or work for another promotion? He did both, and this was the setup. He was gone, and he came back after Jeff Jarrett was beat up, and Buddy Landale and Dutch Rentel and that whole deal. The return of Lawler was done from the beating up Jeff Jarrett thing. As Ben says, he grew up in the WWE territory, but the Southern territories had more heat and more fans and more fire, and I will agree with that 100%, no doubt in the world. Trying to make sure before we get out of here, I am going to scroll down. Again, I apologize. As PJ says, she's excited about Lawler and Dundee will be our featured match of the week next week. Until next week, unless we have bonus shows, thanks to Michael St. John, we miss Chris, we miss Pat, we miss Dr. Robinson, but we didn't miss you guys. We appreciate it. Until next time, this is Randy Hales saying bye-bye. See you next week.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ.